Is it stomach?
Yeah, it's a stomach. Now, how'd you recognize it was stomach?
Bunch of
The
different
layers.
Well, there's layers in all of them. But,
Muscle.
This one also
Yeah.
has oblique.
yeah, you see those little
I
slits
can't
there?
see anything.
And then the little flat tops on the epithelia?
Your rugae.
Yeah, no. Well, there may be rugae here, but it's really, you're not gonna see rugae.
Okay.
You're just looking at a section through the wall. Now, that would be those little slits. Gastric pits.
Oh.
Right? So stomach is the pits. You get a lot of those gastric pits, and those are ducts that extend down into
The gastric glands.
gastric glands, and that's where the gastric glands are here where my hand is.
Okay.
Now, I know that this is all mucosa because you see that strip of tissue right there? What is that tissue?
Areolar?
Your line
That's a
up.
smooth muscle layer that is part of the mucosa called the muscularis mucosa. Okay, so once you see that, you know from here out would be the mucosa. That means this open loose tissue would be part of the submucosa, and then from here out would be the muscularis externa, which, remember in the stomach, there's always 3 layers.
Oblique.
Oblique,
Longitudinal.
No.
Circular.
circular, longitudinal is always this real thin one that lies in the outer part of the externa. And then you can see just the residual membrane. What's the membrane that encases the serosum? So there's the serosum. Now that would be, it's a serous membrane, but it's called the peritoneum because remember all these organs are in the abdominal pelvic cavity, and that's the name given to that serous membrane.
Can you go over the mucosa and submucosal stuff now?
Yeah, okay, here. From there to there is the mucosa.
Okay.
Again, gastric pits, which are ducts that lead down into the little gastric glands, which are very hard to see. It depends on the slide that you have. But you can see some of the cells that very likely make up those glands. In fact, those are really nice right there. Could be parietal cells, could be chief cells, probably one of those two, but have no idea how to identify and distinguish between them. And then, of course, the thin layer smooth muscle is the muscularis mucosa, that is always part of it, and defines the end of the mucosa and the beginning of the submucosa. And then from here out would be all the muscularis externa, oblique, circular, longitudinal, and then the serosa would be a very thin layer on the outside.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
And again, there's a simple columnar epithelia here, but it's really hard to make out because we're looking at just scanning. So this is the lowest power. So now, if I were to go up and say right here, which I could do, and just show you the mucosa, right? Now you can see the gastric pits a little more easily, and you can see the glands. You can actually see the bottoms of the glands. A lot of this tissue right here would be the lamina propria. You can see that it looks different than the glandular epithelia. And again, here would be that strip of smooth muscle that would be part of the muscularis mucosa.
So right there we can identify lamina propria, gastric pits.
Yep, the epithelia, the gastric glands, and again, you can make out the cell types in those glands, but again, identifying them specifically is very difficult.
So right after that muscularis mucosa, that's where it goes into the submucosa.
Yeah, this is submucosa right
All
here.
that,
All
okay.
that. And I think that's it. Again, there's really not a lot to see. I mean, here's that oblique layer. It almost looks like you can see the muscle groupings, the
Yeah.
fascicles going this way. And then this would be
Circular.
what is considered the circular And I think that would be the dividing line between them. And then,
So,
of course, the longitudinal.
Would you want us to say musculatura externa with oblique layer on the
You
exam?
could say the circular layer of the muscularis externa.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
got it.
So the serosa is pretty small.
Oh, yeah, it's real thin.
Okay.
It's not very big. And it could be that some of it has been removed here.
Okay.
Now, you should see, if there is a serosa, you should see a simple squamous epithelia, because remember, that's a mesothelium that faces the adjoining cavity. This would be the abdominal pelvic cavity right there on that piece.
Yeah.
And again, you can see what looks like some mucus here on that inside. That's all mucus, I'm pretty sure. Kind of a mucus layer. Well, that's not bad, is it? The only problem is, this is probably a rugae right there, the kind of what force is projecting outward into the cavity. And you don't see the actual muscle layers there. Looks like they've been removed. In fact, it looks like that's about the best place to see the muscle